We're here with Tim McDonald today.
How you doing?
We're in Calhoun County, Alabama. We're near the city of Jacksonville. And I understand that you just performed today for a group of folks here. Is that right?
Yes, sir. I started a vision last year called the Bring It to the People Tour, where I play for folks that enjoy my music rather than just bar owners and clubs that just want to sell alcohol. I'm trying to reach my music to the grassroots campaign and build it like they did in the old days when they did all barn dances and such like that. So I played for a wonderful family today, David and Lisa, and for you and everybody else is a lot of fun. So thanks for having us here today.
Well, thank you. You're talking about the Take It to the People campaign. Is this a political thing you're talking about, or is this a musical thing you're talking about?
This is a musical thing. You know, in music we don't really talk about politics because some people take it the wrong way. So we support both sides as long as they're doing the right thing. That's just all I want to say about that.
Well, Johnny Cash, he was musical, and he did exactly of what Mrs. Johnny Cash had him to do. Are you a married guy, or are you kind of two-stepping?
Well, I'm not two-stepping. I only do that on the dance floor with sawdust there on a wooden floor. I'm single and enjoying it, and it's easier to travel with that, you know, that way because a woman needs time. I just don't have that right now because I'm on the road all the time, you know.
Well, I'll tell you folks, I know Tim. I had the good fortune to meet him a while back. He's an awesome young man. His band, they're just unbelievable. I've read some of your reviews. I know enough about you to know that you're not an up-and-comer. I think you're here already.
Well, I appreciate that.
You want to talk about your music a little bit? What do you play?
Yeah, well, I play a little bit of everything. Right now I'm into country music, you know. I also love jazz music, so I have two sides in the music industry. But, you know, I just got a new album out called Living, Breathing, Having Fun. Got another album in the can, as we say. It's ready to be released probably in October called Tim's Dims. And it's all country music. I'm a singer-songwriter, so I write and record all my own songs. Done a couple cover songs, one which is famous, written by Ray Wiley Hubbard called Snake Farm. That's been a big hit. And Walking in Memphis is another song I recorded, written by Mark Cohn. So it's really the only two non-original songs I've recorded. And everything else is songs that I just write about, you know, the common day, everyday working man and woman, and stuff that they can relate to, you know, whether it's heartbreaks or just life in general, you know. And as Billy Joel said, I try to make people forget about life for a while and entertain, and then they can go back to the, you know, the regular whine and grind of life, you know.
Well, I know you're multi-talented. You play a number of instruments. Do you have a favorite?
Well, my favorite's the piano. I have a bass guitar. I like to play bass, you know, sometimes in the living room. I don't really play it out that much. And I have a dobro that was handmade for me by Crafters of Tennessee. And it's really nice sounding dobro that I like to play, you know, every now and then, you know.
How did you get your start in music? You just pick an instrument up one day and it... Tell us how you got started.
Well, my daddy was a Southern Baptist minister there in Southern Virginia. And my mom sang in the church, you know, and so she did hymns. And so basically at 3 years old, she asked me if I wanted to play piano. And I think she wanted me to be a church accompanist, as well as my brother, who's a little older than me, 3 years older. So he accompanied my mom on the piano, and I kind of went a different direction, let's just say that, you know, into more of a secular realm of music. And so I started piano at 3 years old, classically trained, and I had my first teacher taught me more than just classical. She taught me a lot of the movie themes, you know, like Chariots of Fire and stuff like that. So I started learning, and I was always playing by ear. My mom used to catch me at the piano. I was too short to reach the pedals of the piano, so I'd lay on the piano bench and act like the weatherman, and unbeknownst to me, my mother was behind me recording everything I was doing. So I think my first composition was when I was acting like the weatherman, probably at 5 or 6 years old.
Well, Tim, when did you decide, at what time in your life did you think, I want to be a professional musician?
That's a great question, Daryl. I appreciate that. I was in college on a soccer scholarship in Montreat Anderson College in Asheville, North Carolina, and enjoyed playing music. They had several really nice Steinway & Sons grand pianos. It was one of the last redwood tree churches, you know, before they, you know, started putting the trees on the endangered list. And so the acoustics in Gaither Hall, which was kind of a church, it's a Lutheran college, had a wonderful acoustic, so I practiced more than I went to class, and so that's when I decided, you know, and also not doing too well in school because I was playing a lot, I decided to join the Army band out of my first year of college to play piano, and so that's kind of the direction I took, and that's when I decided, you know, that I was good at two things, well, three things. I was good at partying, I was good at soccer, and I was good at piano, and I didn't think I'd ever have a career in soccer or partying, so I decided I was going to be a professional, you know, piano player and musician.
Well, that's very interesting. You talked about going into the military. Would you share with us a little bit of your military history?
Sure. I went in 1995, January 17th. I went to basic training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. And then I went to the School of Music, which is ran by the Navy base out in Little Creek Amphibious Base in Virginia Beach, Virginia. First station was in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, where I took a liking to country music and the lyrical part of music. You know, I love lyrics, kind of like Johnny Cash, you know. I also love the piano as far as melodies and improvisation. And so after that 4-year stint at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, I went to Germany, Wiesbaden, Germany, and then we got relocated to Mannheim. And I came back, I got called to teach at the Military School of Music, where I went to school, you know, and I taught there for 3 years until 2004, and that's when I decided to move to Nashville and to pursue my career.
Tim, were you in the Nashville area for any extended time before you were recognized? I mean, I see you as an overnight sensation, but I know in the music field, guys, sometimes they progress over a period of years,
right?
Not weeks or months. How did it come together for you?
Well, you know, I think a lot of people have made it before they get discovered. You know, a lot of people are already, you know, on the path, and then somebody gets credit for discovering an act that's already there. You know, I moved to Nashville in 2004, and 4 months later I was touring with Mark Chestnut, his 14 #1 hits, and I started touring with him. I left him for Blake Shelton. So I was a sideman. I played piano and organ and string parts and accordions and everything for all these major artists. Olivia Newton-John was my latest tour, and then I decided that it was time to, you know, because I'd always been recording albums, always been writing music, and I decided, you know, that it's time to do my own career and to give it a shot, you know.
Have you written any hits for some of the big names? Have you scored on your own?
You know, I haven't really. I would say, like, Snake Farm is the biggest underground hit that I have. It's really well known in Nashville, Tennessee. I've written for a lot of small-time artists. I don't have any major hits at this point. You know, I think my songs could be cut, you know, by major artists. It's just, it's getting it to the artists and having them recorded. It's just such a tight, you know, it's a tight business, and there's so many great writers in Nashville. It's just trying to get your song in there to the right artist that your song sounds like, because not every song fits the artist. Just not every, like every quarterback doesn't fit for every football team. You know, you have to find what fits, what works for that artist, you know.
Well, you have a group of guys with you that are just magnificent musicians on their own. How did you guys get together? Would you share with us a little bit of their history?
Sure. Well, you know, I have a regular band of guys that we were actually here in Alabama about a month ago, I believe, maybe a little longer. And they're all out because I don't have enough dates to keep a band together, so I called 3 of my friends up, a drummer from Winnipeg, Canada, who's a good friend of mine, and so I called him and asked him if he would come out this weekend, and he obliged. And he's also an amazing hockey player, and he has the record for the most time in the penalty box. So we try not to make him angry. And he's back there smiling, by the way. You can't see him, but trust me, he is. And my bass player, Tom Floor, has been in Nashville for about 2 weeks. He's been doing a lot of good things. You know, he's really good at marketing. And he's back there raising his hands like, yay! But he needed a place to stay, so, you know, I had an extra room at the house, so he moved into the house, and I brought him out here and gave him a shot. And then there's a great guitar player that's out with me this week named Jeff Zona, who's toured with major artists, including Lee Greenwood, who's famous for God Bless the USA, which is pretty much the anthem in the military, you know, and almost more than the national anthem. They're almost neck and neck as far as, a military. It gets chills every time you hear that song, and
Yeah.
like the anthem does when you sing it. So I've got a really good group of guys. We didn't have the time, to rehearse, and so I sent them the music. They learned it really well. They did their homework. So we got together, and our first gig was Friday in Coleman, Alabama, a place called Moe's Little Barbecue Joint, and everybody came together because, music is universal. I could go, when I was stationed in Germany, I could play music with German folks. They knew music. There's no dialect in music. They may play it a little different, but it's kind of a universal language, so all musicians speak it, and you try to find people that's vocabulary is as good as yours, that have learned the language and that are on your level or better, and that's who I like to get together, and I like to say this group is at my level or better.
Do you have are you touring the South right now? Do you have some gigs planned in the area in the near future?
Yes, I believe October 24th I will be back down here. Is that correct? I'm way off. Anyway, go to timmcdonaldband.com. I'm pretty much booked every week until November 1st. Next week I'm in Ohio. And then I couldn't even tell you, my brain's pretty fried from just being on the road right now as far as my schedule. But if you go on my website and click on the tour link, and actually I developed my own website. I took the time because my brother's an amazing software guy, so he had the FTP files and the computer real quick, and I couldn't, he couldn't update it because he's too busy, So I decided to go make my own website, and so I can maintain it and keep everything updated.
Do you perform regionally, or do you travel nationally? What are your goals? Where are you trying to go? What do you plan for your future?
Well, when I talk about the piano, I want to be remembered like Bach or Chopin. I want to be remembered for hundreds of years, not just for maybe 100 years. And I think artistically, I want to be remembered for a long time. And I just want to leave an impact on people's lives when I'm long gone, that my music will still thrive. And I think that's success is what it is. I think if you make a living at doing what you love, you're successful. But I'd really love my music to live on when I'm gone, to the next generation, or, any family that can pass it on, or friends and family that live on, just passing my music around and say, hey, this will, help you when you're down. This may get you through some hard times, This might help you when you're having a bad breakup or going through a divorce or something like that, or if your health goes south, or if you lose a family member, this music can help you forget about that, and at least temporarily. And so that's kind of where I want to go with my music.
You said a while ago that country music came to you as your music progressed. Do you have a favorite? Is country your favorite? If you weren't playing publicly right now, what do you play for yourself? What soothes your soul? Well,
I like jazz. I like playing the piano. I like the voice of the piano, the spirit of the piano, and the way it makes me feel. So, I have to say, if I'm playing just the piano, I'd probably play jazz. But then also I like to songwrite. So, usually when I play a melody, I'll simplify it maybe into more commercial sense, and then, the words start coming to me. So if you play a slow song, you're probably going to have maybe a sadder, or maybe a deeper content than a fast song is going to be more fun. So usually depends on the tempo, of the song, which kind of depends. So I think country and jazz, I love them equally. I love jazz because you can improvise. When you play with country bands, sometimes you play it exactly as the record is, so it's almost more mechanical. So I like to be a little more improvisational. And I do that with my band, even when we're playing, the commercial music and I have the record, we pretty much play the signature licks of the song, but when the solo comes, it's pretty much whatever comes to mind.
Well, we have a question from the audience. We're going to move away from music for just a minute and put you on the spot.
Ruh-roh.
Drum roll, guys. Do we have a lady in the background? It can't be all music. You must have someone you sing to.
Well, that's a hard question.
Well, I said I wanted to put you on the spot.
Well, I really don't. But, I've got, obviously when I play songs, I think about different, girlfriends that, obviously through our lives, unless you get married at a young age, you stay with them your lifelong, lifelong through. then you have different women that come to mind, good and bad. You know, I was married back in the Army and got divorced, so sometimes when I write my angry songs, I think about that episode, you know.
Well, I'll just tell you, there's a lady sitting out of the view of the camera. I've been married to this girl for better than 30 years, and she's become quite fond of your music, and of course that was a loaded question, folks, but now you heard it, and you heard it live. Tim has spoken. Do we have any other questions?
And the band cannot ask any questions.
Oh my gosh, well, Tim, this has been a great interview.
Thank you so much.
Do you have anything on any subject you'd like to share with your public? You know, you're becoming quite a phenomenon down south.
Well, I appreciate that, and that's, you know, I love this area. You know, some areas of music, some regions, some places your music doesn't fit, you know, and it's kind of like putting a square peg in a round hole, you know, but I really feel here, at least in eastern Alabama, you know, that I'm getting some, not just fans, but friends, you know, and that's what it's all about, because those are the folks that will help you when, you know, the times are tough, and I think that's what everybody here has done, not just, you know, financially, but also, you know, mentally, and they'll just support you, you know, when you need someone to talk to or whatever. And you know, just have a lot of people in my court. You know, Miss Gail White has been very instrumental in getting me down here. And if it wasn't for her, you know, I would have never met, you know, the folks that I play for today, David and Lisa, and I would have never met you. You know, so I really appreciate everybody, you know, down here, and I would love to be a regular now in this region, because I feel my heart's happy here. You know, and I feel healthy and I feel happy, and everyone has a great sense of humor. You know, and that's part of my life, and I don't like to be around negativity, and so I'd rather play for folks that make me feel good, you know, than for folks that don't make me feel good. So I would love to be a regular here, Daryl, you know. And
well, Tim McDonald, you've impressed a lot of people. Your music speaks for itself. What I would tell you in closing this interview is we're going to keep you for a long time.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. It gives me the warm and fuzzies.